Hello, I'm Tommy Taylor, CEO of United Way of the Cape Fear area. Welcome to our United We Feed panel discussion. Today we are focusing on food insecurity and the challenges and opportunities that have been presented by the coronavirus pandemic. We are delighted to introduce some of our local agency partner leaders who work endlessly to fight against food insecurity across the greater Cape Fear region. Ms. Beth Gaglione, Branch Director of the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina, Mr. Steve McCrossan, Executive Director of NourishNC, and Ms. Jane Radack, Vice President of Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. Thank you for joining us today for this panel discussion. It's designed to help inform our community of how we are collaborating in real time to help feed our neighbors, to show how, when we are united, we feed.
When it comes to food insecurity, one size doesn't fit all. It can mean not being able to afford nutritious food like fruits and vegetables and being forced to rely on frozen meals or cheaper processed products. It can also mean low income and at-risk seniors and families have to rely heavily on local food banks, with many making choices between food and other expenses just to survive. In the past year, the United Way of the Cape Fear area, in partnership with our 43 nonprofit community agencies, has provided over 843,500 meals to families in our region. This community steps up to help its neighbors, and the United Way is an integral part of providing solutions for those most in need. Through collective giving and amplified impact, we work together to solve the most complex problems facing our society. Change doesn't happen alone. When we choose to band together, to live united, we can help provide the resources necessary to help local people stay healthy, safe, and prosperous. The COVID-19 pandemic has not stopped our community's concern for one another, nor hindered our desire for good works. Together, we can be the real superheroes, the mentors, the game changers, and difference makers our children, families, and neighborhoods need during this unprecedented time. We invite you to join us. By partnering with the United Way of the Cape Fear area, you help to build strong foundations so that we all have a stronger, united, more resilient community. United, we feed. United, we teach. United, we heal. United, we thrive.
Thank you, Tommy. Beth, Steve, and Jane, we are so delighted to have you all join us for this great discussion today. Thank you for all you do and for being a valued partner of our local, independent United Way. Your insight will really help folks to understand the overwhelming increase in food insecurity in our community, especially since the pandemic. How has the pandemic affected operation, distribution, and volunteerism at your organization?
Thank you, Carrie, for that question. Our operations has definitely been, impacted in many ways. In the beginning of COVID-19, there were some of our partners that were experiencing close to 100% increase in need, which is, it's hard to imagine being able to sustain that level of need. We've leveled off a bit and are seeing a close to 40% increase, and we expect that that will continue for quite some time. One of the things that we, and probably all of us here, have been challenged with is the availability and the distribution of more fresh food, which is a great problem to have, but it is more challenging to deal with food that needs to either be cooled or frozen, because we all have capacity issues. So that is those are a couple of the first things that come to mind. The increase in need has really pushed us as far as we can in increase in distribution. So before COVID, we were hovering on an average to distribute somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 pounds a month, with the exception of a few very, very busy months. But we're averaging about 1 million pounds of food distributed a month, and we've been doing that since about April or May. But one of the first things that I think of is when you're putting out the significant increase in food every day like we are and have been probably since April or May of last year, you need more hands. And so we have been very lucky to be able to bring on the National Guard and have them become a part of our operation every day. We have at least 2 guardsmen and women with us every day. We're very grateful to the state of North Carolina for making food banks a priority during the pandemic. So that's definitely been a part of how we've been impacted in many other ways as well.
Like all natural disasters, COVID-19 has highlighted some of the issues and cracks in the foundations of our community, right? A lot of our children have already had issues pre-pandemic, and now a spotlight is being put on them. Things like the digital divide, for example. A lot of children are now missing out on their free reduced lunches, which is the lifeline for many of our children in our community. And you know, before the pandemic, 1 in 5 children in our region were struggling with hunger. Feeding America is now predicting that number will get worse and go to 1 in 4 children if it's not already. So this will also be with us for a while. The pandemic will end, but the issues facing our community will be with us for a long time.
So COVID impacted almost every aspect of how Mother Hubbard's cupboard functioned, but let's go ahead and start with volunteerism. We are an all-volunteer organization. Pre-COVID, over 90% of our volunteers were over 65, which put them in the most vulnerable demographic for this disease. So we needed to protect our older volunteers, let them stay home, which meant we had to quickly and continually recruit and train new, younger volunteers. COVID shifts much more physically demanding because in order to protect our clients, we started serving everyone outside. That means we go outside, we sign people in, we come back inside, we shop for everything they need, then we go back outside, we load it into their car or their cart. So it's literally like running a mini marathon. We also had to reduce the number of days that we are open. We reduced it from 5 to 2 because we wanted to be sure we remained a consistent resource of healthy food for our clients. Consistent meant we had to have volunteers twice a week, every week. Probably an easy deduction, but our numbers are up over 17%. COVID impacted supply and demand nationally, so we haven't been able to purchase bulk since March. Again, had to pivot. We have been relying on that collective community neighborhood food drives, individuals buying a couple of extra boxes of whole grain cereal when they go to the store, organizations rallying their troops to fill the gaps on our shelves. The domino effects that COVID has had on those more vulnerable in our community have been heartbreaking. But despite all of the challenges, Mother Hubbard's has been able to remain true to our mission. We provide healthy food for those in need.
Thank you, Jane. Let's take a moment to highlight the importance of volunteerism. If you're interested in volunteering locally in our community, in person or off-site, please visit uwcfa.org and click on the button at the top of the page entitled Volunteer. There, you can find multiple volunteer opportunities that best suit your needs and interests. Now, one more question for you, my friends. Briefly, relative to food insecurity, how does a partnership with your local, independently operated United Way contribute to your organization's ability to meet these needs? Steve, would you like to take this one first?
Thank you, Carrie. Well, you know, in the wake of other disasters like Florence and this pandemic, I have always found that this community steps up to take care of our neighbors. And the United Way is an integral part of this community. You know, you've been a longtime partner of NourishNC, and the United Way has always been there when NourishNC has needed them. And y'all helped birth NourishNC many years ago, right? And so, but food insecurity is a really complex issue, and it requires solutions above and beyond just providing food to our neighbors, right? Food insecurity is intricately related to access to housing, workforce development, affordable housing, racial and health equity, right? Education, and lots more. And the reason the United Way is so great is because they create the partnerships that can address these issues and amplify the impact. Together, I see us as part of an ecosystem which provides children and families with the services they need to live happy and healthy lives. And if our community's children are to reach higher levels of health, education, and wellness, then we must meet their most basic needs first. And NourishNC addresses those child's nutritional needs so that other United Way partners can more effectively educate, heal, and nurture them.
Thank you so much, Steve McCrossan with NourishNC. As always, it is a pleasure to have you join us. Jane, as the VP of Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, I know you have a great perspective on the impact the relationship with United Way has on your organization. Would you share your thoughts?
Okay, Carrie, let's talk about our partnership with the United Way. Being an all-volunteer organization means Mother Hubbard's does not have the resources to pursue the same types of fundraising that other nonprofits with paid staff can do. The United Way funds our grants annually, and knowing that we have reliable sources of funding means we are able to focus our energies directly on feeding the hungry. Also, the United Way has a broadly respected presence in our community, and being a United Way agency helps people feel more confident supporting us. And obviously their professional campaigns help us reach different audiences. But the best example of partnership, thinking of Chris Teeter, United Way's Director of Community Impact, who literally partnered with us. He showed up, volunteered at Mother Hubbard, served clients. Hard to imagine a better way to understand what we do, why we do it, and the needs of the people we do it for.
That's so great to hear, Jane. We are so indebted for the compassion you share and the work that you do. Beth, the food bank is an invaluable resource to the most vulnerable folks affected in Eastern North Carolina, now more than ever. Will you share the relationship United Way enjoys with the food bank?
Sure. That's a great question. And something that I have actually learned a great deal about since before my time as branch director of the food bank here in Wilmington. A critical part of our relationship in the past with United Way has been the development of the backpack program here. It has really changed over time. And one of the roles that the food bank feels is important, that we feel is important to play as it relates to that program, is being the organization that can access the food that those organizations need. Organizations like NourishNC, Matthew's Ministry, Pender County Christian Services, Share the Table. They're all doing great work in this area of the backpack program. You know, we're so proud to be a part of it, in some ways directly, in some ways indirectly, but United Way has really laid the groundwork for that here in New Hanover County and throughout the region. Our relationship, our funding relationship anyway, with United Way has changed recently, and we now are in a partnership that's more focused on disaster preparedness. And being able to be around that table with so many organizations that are so integrally involved with disaster preparedness, disaster response. It's where the food bank wants to be. We want to be a lot of places, but it's definitely a place where we thrive and want to continue to be better partners in this community as it relates to being prepared for that next storm or that next fire or that next disaster, whatever that might look like.
Thank you so much, Beth. Inspirational and insightful as always. Jane, Beth, and Steve, we are honored to partner with you. And I want to thank you so much for taking part in our United We Feed panel discussion today. Most importantly, please know how grateful we are for the programs and the resources your nonprofit agencies provide to the greater Cape Fear area, and for giving selflessly and caring as you do every single day. And now, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Girardi. Jen is the Relationship Coordinator for United Way of the Cape Fear area. She brings a true servant's heart, sincere passion, and a generous spirit to our organization. Jen?
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you all for joining us today. Supporting your local, independent United Way is more than a charitable donation. It's amplified impact. Through this unique, united network of nonprofit organizations, we work together to solve some of the most complex problems facing our communities. When we choose to band together to live united, we can help provide the resources necessary to help our neighbors thrive through all walks of life. Giving to United Way is as simple as texting the code HERE for Cape Fear to 44321. You can also visit our website, www.uwcfa.org, and click the yellow Donate button in the top right-hand corner to make a gift online. Change does not happen alone. With you, me, and our greater Cape Fear families, united, we feed. and united, we thrive.